Not everybody is always, intimately familiar with what internal audit is. Could you give us like your elevator pitch or how you explain internal audit to others?
Sure. So like internal audit, you'll hear these terms used quite a lot, which is the three lines of defense, and internal audit is the third line. The best way to probably understand the role of internal audit is to understand the first two lines of defense and what they're meant to be. So look, the first line of defense is meant to be the business. And whenever we talk about defense, we're talking about any organization and the risks that it faces trying to execute on its mandate, whatever purpose that business has. And the first line of defense, the business, ultimately, they're creating the risk by, being in existence and doing something. So they need to figure out how to prevent those risks from happening. And internal auditors look at processes and primarily controls, which are meant to prevent those risks from crystallizing. And so what we're looking at is, business having good, strong controls themselves to prevent risks occurring. They check, that those control systems that they have in are operating effectively, and constantly do that throughout their life cycle. Second line of defense, and especially you'll see this in financial services, are different assurance functions that exist that are independent of the business, but operate in a partnership role in many cases, and that can be areas like compliance functions, assurance functions, risk management functions, who again are constantly checking that the risks that the business is facing are not happening and are being well managed, and they'll be looking at how the business themselves are managing that. So there's two areas that focus on that. So internal audit, well, internal audit's role is meant to be completely independent of those first two lines of defense, and what they're meant to do is check that they are all operating and to be able to give that totally independent view. And ultimately, and this is the way it should be in most organizations, the internal audit function should be reporting up to an independent body, and that is generally an audit committee. And you meet with the likes of the audit committee chair, and you can give your opinion, of whether or not things are operating effectively, and that risks are being appropriately managed. But also, internal audit functions have a number of other stakeholders, regulators, shareholders, and ultimately the overall business.